A U.S. tank has apparently forced its way into what's left of the Afghan hospital, which was destroyed in an airstrike 11 days ago. This is prompting warnings that the U.S. military may actually be destroying evidence in a potential war crimes investigation. Now, we're talking about the hospital that's run by Doctors Without Borders. Joe, that was back on the 3rd of October when the U.S. military, or the U.S.-led coalition, dropped numerous bombs on this fully functioning hospital. Obviously, Doctors Without Borders and a lot of other NGOs were up in arms. They were not very happy about this, but they've been calling for independent investigations to be carried out because they don't trust the U.S. to find whether or not they themselves are guilty of war crimes, right? So they're asking for an independent investigation, and apparently, all of a sudden, now they're saying that the U.S. came unannounced and forced entry, damaged property, destroyed potential evidence, and caused stress and fear for the people who were there. So the question is, can we trust Doctors Without Borders when they say that the U.S. is coming in and destroying evidence? Because we have to remember, they're obviously very angry, they're obviously very shocked and still, basically in shock after this happened. They're obviously biased, right? Do you think the U.S. would do something like this, come in there unannounced and try to cover up and destroy evidence? Well,
this is a major investigation over a pretty nasty war crime. Doctors With Borders is, for the most part, a very, very good organization doing a lot of goodwill, a lot of good work, and in this area in particular. And so to ask the question of would the U.S. secretly come in and destroy this kind of evidence? Well, if they committed that kind of war crime in the first place, then yes, I think they would feasibly go in and cover it up. And again, it needs an outside independent agency or something altogether to try and get to the bottom of this.
Right, and as of now, this just happened yesterday, but there's still no comment coming from the Pentagon. MSF, also known as Doctors Without Borders, come out and said, Pentagon, make a statement on this. They haven't done so yet. Also, there's a little bit mystery as to why this hospital was bombed in the first place. Now, the Pentagon hasn't been entirely clear. Now, while they've come out and said certain things, they've changed their story a few different times. Initially, they said there was fire coming from the hospital itself, putting Afghan troops and U.S. troops in danger. That obviously wasn't true. It was a fully functioning hospital. There was nobody shooting anywhere near there. So later, they retracted that statement, and they came out and they said, well, actually, no, we do apologize. This was a mistake. Obama went and he made this huge statement, and he said he apologized greatly for it, and it was a mistake. So we're seeing, some conflicting stories here that don't really make sense. Now, MSF has already launched an online petition yesterday calling on President Obama to give consent for the IHFFC to make another investigation. So we see them coming out and doing a lot to try to get a real close look at what really happened here. Meanwhile, the U.S. is a little bit reluctant to make any comments, and when they do, they seem to be a little bit conflicting. So we want to know in the comments below, do you guys really think that the U.S. would go in there with their tanks and destroy evidence in broad daylight like that in front of a lot of people? I really don't know what actually happened on the ground that day. Still a mystery for a lot of people, so it's really hard to say at this point. But of course, we're going to keep you guys updated because I think this is a huge story, given that for once it's the U.S. that's being blamed for war crimes. So let us know in the comments below what you guys think, and if you haven't already, of course, subscribe to the Lip TV for more.